Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Well, today we definitely got some of that volatility that multiple chart analysts were predicting was going to happen in the short term. I talked about this literally yesterday, and here we are, in the neighborhood of 24 hours or so later. And what multiple analysts that I follow said was likely to occur in the short term has indeed happened, with Bitcoin cratering down, in this case, to about $59,000. Altcoins, of course, across the board following, just a question of to what degree. XRP today, though, it's still outperforming. Here you have XRP up 1.44%. Not a crazy percentage, but Bitcoin is down 0.83%. Wasn't XRP supposed to be knocked out of the top 10 several years ago, but here it is still chugging along? Weren't we supposed to have our opportunity for bull season, this market cycle, completely diminished, completely obliterated after the SEC chose to appeal against Ripple? Nope, ain't happening, folks. XRP is in the game. It's not going to get knocked out that easily. In fact, I'm going to share with you a perspective from some XRP chart analysts. One says, hey, XRP expected against Bitcoin to increase upwards of, I think, it's a 26-fold. And then also, there's another chart analyst who is saying XRP is actually already broken out. If you look at a particular chart, XRP has broken out against the M1 money supply. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. As I record this video, XRP is a little over 53 cents, Bitcoin at 60,246 bucks. But as I mentioned, today was a scary day for some people. On the screen, you can see the 24-hour price action. There's a notable dip right, where I'm swirling my mouse around. Got down to $59,084.79. So, of course, we're in fear. Here's the crypto fear and greed index at 32 out of 100. That part's not surprising. And so here's a post from on-chain analytics firm Sentiment recognizing this, and they wrote the following. Bitcoin has dropped as low as $58,900. Yeah, so I'll pause to note. I said $59,000 because that's what Live CoinWatch is reporting. They're a price aggregator, so they pull data from multiple sources, and you end up getting that. Wherever and however Sentiment is pulling price action from, they ended up seeing $58,900. So that explains the slight discrepancy, in case you're wondering here. So anyway, Bitcoin has dropped as low as $58,900 today, returning to a 3-week low. However, traders are identifying this as a dip buy opportunity. The narrative flipped to bullish, particularly after the US CPI report announced still likely expected rate cuts. Yes, indeed, that is true, because the market, right or wrong, does believe that rate cuts are positive. And in this type of environment, there's actually a good argument for that. In the instances where rate cuts have been in strong correlation, which actually is most of the time, when they've been in strong correlation with a declining market, that's because there's been disastrous events. Like you can think about the dot-com boom and bust. You can talk about the great financial collapse, or great financial crisis, whatever you want to call it. Like people call it both. The pandemic. In those instances, there were rate cuts, but there were also real-world events that were pretty calamitous. So are we in one of those moments now? I mean, unless there's a black swan event, I mean, the answer is probably no, right? And so here we had this breaking today. I'm not going to spend a bunch of time on this, but I'll share with you the headline from CNBC here. Inflation rate hit 2.4% in September, topping expectations. Jobless claims highest since August 2023. So that is what Sentiment was referencing. They're talking about the CPI, of course, being a consumer price index. So this is the lowest inflation rate that we've seen since the beginning of 2021, so directionally heading the right way. Here's a post, and I shared this in a video yesterday, about 24 hours ago. It's from Credible Crypto. And he was warning here, I don't need to reread the thing, but he was warning, hey, it looks like we're probably going to see Bitcoin get somewhere in the neighborhood of $58,000 to $59,000, maybe get a bounce from there. And then he said that, he would expect after that there's at least a reasonable chance that we see a more notable drop into the upper 49,000s. Now, that's going to scare the hell out of people if that happens. I don't know if it's going to or not. He's the only analyst that I follow that is calling for that type of drop for Bitcoin into the upper 40,000s. And so if it were anybody but him, maybe it'd be like, yeah, probably not, though. And again, he could be wrong, but he has a really good hit rate for short-term price action. So I'm not saying that he has 100% conviction that's what's going to occur, but he has made it clear that he does think there is a distinct possibility that we're going to see that happen before we then continue to the upside. He does still believe, though, Bitcoin's going to hit over $100,000 this market cycle. He still believes XRP is going to hit at least $10. So even if that happens, it's not a time to be fearful. He just sees that that could happen based on what he's looking at in the charts. Not the end of the world, though, if it happens. But we did see the first level that he was talking about today, and many other analysts. I mean, literally, in the video where I was talking about price a day ago, I shared several posts from different analysts calling for roughly the same thing. And I had more examples I could have given. It's just at some point it gets too repetitive. I think I drove the point home sufficiently. But this afternoon, Credible Crypto wrote the following. Said, all the people screaming at me for urging caution at the highs, again, you better pray $58,000 to $59,000 holds, or else it's Nuke City for Bitcoin, baby. So he's warning if this doesn't hold, and it is holding for now, at the time I'm recording this at least, but if it doesn't hold, he's warning, get ready. It's going to go down. Now, this is not something that would cause him panic, I can tell you that, because he just sees, well, volatility is common. Like, you should expect crazy volatility like this. But, you know, you get that even in bull markets. He's ready for this. And so that's part of the reason that I like sharing this type of information on my channel. It helps to prepare. So even if we don't know for sure if that's going to happen, if it does come, you can be like, oh, okay. So you don't have to freak out. You'd be like, oh, okay. So this is something that we knew was potentially in the cards. Don't need to flip out. Not at the end of the world. We're still in the bull market. So you can keep your cool at least. And then whether you want to buy or sell, that's up to you. But at least you can, emotionally maintain yourself a little easier, at least. I would hope anyway. Then there's this post from chart analyst Crypto Michael, and he was saying something kind of similar. His level's slightly different, but not much. He wrote, crucial level here for Bitcoin. If $60,000 support breaks, there is an important trend line at $57,000. If the $57,000 trend line breaks, you don't want to know what happens. Now, that somewhat ominous post there, at least the end part of it, is kind of in line with what Credible Crypto said when he's like, Nuke City, baby! So just a heads up. I'm seeing this from multiple analysts. There's also this post. It's pretty straight to the point. It's from chart analyst Dom, and he said, the real move happens after the election. And I'm seeing all sorts of analysts that share that view, and there is data. In fact, I didn't plan to pull this up, but I just noticed this here. I've seen all sorts of charts like this. This is from somebody I'm not familiar with, the Crypto Cub, showing when elections are here in the United States. So it shows where we are now. Well, it looks like this post was updated in early September, so this isn't the most update one. But I've seen tons of these types of charts, and it shows the previous two market cycles. So you can see what happened the previous two market cycles, since it lines up with the election. You can see like we were kind of chugging along, and then what happened after that, that's when the floodgates opened. So I've seen that point made multiple times. I also wanted to share this with you. This is from the Daily Hodl. Tom Lee says new all-time highs for stock market, part of the formula, predicts bull market extending to 2025. Now, even if you only care about XRP, or if you're like me and you don't only care about XRP, but you care most about XRP because by a lot it's your largest holding, which certainly is the case for me, then you should still care what happens with Bitcoin. You should care what happens with the stock market, because the stocks and cryptocurrencies, they are risk-on assets. That's how people treat them. These asset classes move in tandem, so you better pray that stocks keep moving to the upside, because we haven't had a proper bull season without that happening ever. Piece reads as follows. FundStrat's Tom Lee says that stocks may be heading to new all-time highs over the coming months. In a new interview on CNBC, Lee says that three main factors may extend the S&P 500 bull market into next year. And here's a quote. Bull markets are supported by strong fundamentals. And this is a case where not only has the economy survived extremely high interest rates, but the Fed is beginning to cut rates. And an economy that has sort of been languishing has been China. And now we have some stimulus and what looks like some bazooka policies that is supporting that region. And we have a lot of cash on the sidelines. So I think that this is a formula for stocks to do pretty well the next 3 to 12 months, and that's why we think that we would be well beyond 5,700 before year end, end quote. Now, I think this is a good time to remind you, and I said this in January, I pulled up data and showed you, it's just a factual statement. After the S&P 500 comes out of a bear market and hits a new all-time high for the first time for a cycle, 12 out of the last 13 times it has done so, dating back to the 1950s. If you fast forward 1 year past that, which would bring us to January of 2025, 12 out of the last 13 times, the market has been higher. And it's been higher on average it's about 16%. So, if we're going into bear market territory with stocks and crypto, then we'd be at, 12 out of 14 times. I mean, that could happen. Is that what's most probable? I mean, you can just look at that and play your odds, but on top of that, there's all sorts of other things that I consistently highlight, including, increase in liquidity, which is what actually drives these markets anyway. Anyway, piece continues. The S&P 500 is trading above 5,751 at time of writing. Lee also says that small cap stocks may be on the verge of breaking out. A small cap stock refers to companies with a market cap generally between about $250 million to $2 billion. Okay, I'll pause to note here what we've been watching very closely, certainly in, I know the XRP community is focusing on it. But a lot of people, broadly speaking, in crypto are. It's the Russell 2000, because it's an index of small cap stocks. We have never had an alt season without the Russell 2000 breaking out. So when he's talking about this, and he says on the verge of breaking out, and there is historic precedent for this, that is worth listening to, because if that happens and our alts go, XRP being an alt, gonna go along with the rest of the party. Frankly, I mean, rising tide lifts all boats. And then he said, and I quote, small caps, they're within a few percentage points of an all-time high. And Mark Newton, our head of technical strategy, thinks we are still in an up move for small caps that just started recently. But yes, it's been disappointing. I think it's been especially disappointing because China and small caps historically are fairly highly correlated, and so we are seeing risk on appetite increasing in some places. Yeah, and so certainly fair enough, there's also historic precedent for small caps to lag behind. And they certainly are now. There's also this from Seth Golden, who I've become a fan of in recent months here. He's a hedge fund consultant and chief market strategist at Finum Group, and he shared this data. S&P 500 index number of all-time highs 1929 through 2024. And he wrote the following. S&P 500 achieved 44th all-time high of the calendar year. The index has never made 44 all-time highs without at least making one more for the calendar year. Odds are 100% that the high is not in for 2024. And then he's only half serious, so in parentheses he wrote cringe ? But if you're playing the odds, what do you think is likely to occur? Just one more consideration, but I'm betting number go up on the whole. We'll see how October fares, but yeah, I think by the time Q4 is done, we're probably going to be happy. Then there's this post from chart analyst Crypto Insight UK. It's got an XRP BTC chart here, and he wrote, I got the right one up. Daily RSI bullish cross. He's actually got a few charts here. So that's the first one. Daily RSI bullish cross, and worth noting, XRP has been trending to the upside against Bitcoin for 4 months now. It has been 4 months. That is some strength. And then he wrote on the weekly inverted, a series of lower highs you'd expect us to hit the bottom of this range technically. And so that's what he shared here. It's still an XRP versus Bitcoin chart, but inverted. And then he wrote, flip the chart back around and look at that percent gain. Somewhere in the 12 to 26x range versus Bitcoin. Don't mind seeing that one little bit. And so, although I don't make predictions like in terms of price action, but I will hazard a guess here. I do think that as long as we have a proper alt season, by the end of this market cycle, we'll find that XRP has substantially outperformed Bitcoin. I'll not be surprised to see that in the least. And then we have this from chart analyst Dr. Magic. He wrote, Dear XRP community, what if I told you that XRP has broken out against M1, so the M1 money supply, a while ago, and right now we are fighting the most significant resistance in the chart before mooning? Charts against M1, for me, are very significant because they show you the real progress assets have made through time. Remember, M1 shows the printing of money. When it goes up, most assets go up because of the debasement of money. You see the real strength of an asset if you divide it with M1. So, with the full context of what's going on a macro scale and all the historic precedent in crypto, everything that's happening right here, I look at all of this and I feel excited. Now, I don't know for sure what's going to happen. I don't feel I even need to say I'm that cautiously optimistic. I mean, I'm pretty damn bullish right here because there's historic precedent that leads me to feel that way. And I understand that sometimes the improbable could happen, but I just don't understand sweating bullets over this stuff. Ultimate, because look, here's the deal. Even if the improbable happens and we enter a bear market, oh well, it's not the end of the world. Do we think that we're going to cease to have the S&P 500? There's going to be no stocks? Are stocks going to go away and we're not going to have an economy? Are we not going to have a crypto asset class just because we enter a bear market if that happens? Well, that's ridiculous. So I'll still be chilling. Like I will not be stressing out the least because I know the market comes back eventually. If anything, as I earn new money, I'll just buy more stuff. There's no reason to freak out. And so we don't know what's going to happen for sure. This is the reason I admit I don't know. I'm not making price predictions. But if you ask me which way directional I think we're going to head, I think we're going to trend up. We've been hanging out here sideways for a long time, but we are not going to stay here forever. We cannot and will not. I just think it's more likely that when the trend truly breaks, it's going to be a break to the upside. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.